This video is brought to you by Squarespace. From custom domains to beautiful websites using their easily customizable templates that you can have up and running in minutes, e-commerce, email and email marketing, SEO, analytics, and scheduling, Squarespace does it all and has done it for us for the last 10 years. If you are a small to mid-sized business in any industry, Squarespace is the place to go for all of your website needs. Hop over to www.squarespace.com/you for a free trial. And if you like what you see and want to move forward, receive 10% off your first order by using the discount code HUGH at checkout. Thanks, Squarespace. Hey everybody, I'm Hugh Brownstone for Three Blind Men and an Elephant, and today I want to offer you a very quick, first take on Panasonic's just announced and surprisingly interesting $2,200 1.28 kilo 100-500 f5 to 7.1 super telephoto zoom. A quick first take because I didn't have time to shoot with it ahead of embargo lift using our standard test scene for super telephoto zooms, looking west 1.01 miles as the crow flies across the East River to frame the UN Chrysler and 1 Vanderbilt buildings in New York City. B, the closest approximation we could find within the time frame was just about 3/4 of a mile as the crow flies across the Schuylkill River looking east to frame a small section of the Philadelphia skyline, including the Murano and 1 Liberty buildings in less than ideal weather conditions, weather forecasts notwithstanding. C, I was thus not able to use years' worth of photos of our New York test scene to compare the LUMIX 100-500S against its most natural competitors from Sigma, their 100-400, 150-600, 60-600, and yes, their incredible 500 f5.6 on anything remotely like an apples-to-apples basis. I also recognize that while I love this test scene because urban landscape is my thing, I'm talking New York, and it really does stress test gear with repeatability edge to edge across the frame due to subject matter, the fine differences in textures across such distances, and wild, eye-popping, pixel-peeping magnification in post. Mine is probably the least common use case for such a lens, sports and wildlife undoubtedly being the primary use cases for it instead. Surprisingly interesting, however, because A, it is really nicely built with a beautifully weighted and comprehensive set of controls. I don't know why they didn't label it a pro lens, save, I guess, for the slower maximum apertures. B, its autofocus is quick and silent, linear focus motors, next generation. C, it feels small and light for what it is, potentially a great set of trade-offs. I'd call it 60% smaller, 50% lighter, and 5% less expensive than Sigma's 60-600 f5 to 6.3, 50% smaller, 40% lighter, and 30% less expensive than Sigma's 150-600 5 to 6.3, 40% smaller, 8% lighter, and 36% less expensive than that brilliant 500 5.6. Especially if one has somewhere between 44 and 61 megapixels worth of cropping power behind it, never mind the 1.4 and 2x teleconverters it does take, but I did not have for this test. Although, I've never met a 2x teleconverter that I liked. Compared to its closest competitor, irrespective of mount, this new Lumix is 9% smaller, 6% lighter, and a whopping 25% less expensive than Canon's identically spec'd RF 100-500mm f4.5 to 7.1, 4.5 instead of 5, at the cost of barely 1/3 of a stop across the zoom range. But then there's this. What I did have on hand was Panasonic's 70-200 f4S Pro and Sigma's just released 135mm f1.4, and I gave them a go. When I took a close look at the images and compared them side by side, considering not only image quality, but then thinking about size, weight, price, and versatility, schlepping and futzing, at the same focal lengths. Then went back into the database of New York skyline imagery and attempted to equalize for object size, object distance, and atmospheric conditions, a very inexact effort of necessity. Well, I ended up, for now, here. 1. at the same f8 and approximately the same 200mm focal length, 200mm on the 70-200 because I could rack it out until it hit the zoom stop, 202mm on the 100-500. Both at ISO 250 and 1/1600th of a second, both tripod mounted, viewed at 800%. The new 100-500mm crushed the 70-200 f4S Pro for image quality. Crushed it. 2. At f5.6 and approximately the same 135mm focal length, 135mm precisely on the Sigma because it's a prime, 128mm on the 100-500, both again at ISO 250 with a shutter speed this time of either 1/2000th or 1/2500th of a second. The super zoom on a tripod, the non-lens IS stabilized but IBIS stabilized 135 handheld, viewed again at 800%. The Sigma is sharper, but ever so slightly, and that's pretty amazing. Then again, I'm certain that atmospheric conditions prevented me from seeing just how hard I could really push them. But both of these tests were done at or near the sweet spot for image quality on most lenses, and neither lens is remotely likely to be considered by any of us to be a real alternative. Still, that's not the point. This is the point. A super telephoto zoom, lighter than a short telephoto prime, in the same ballpark optically at any aperture, and unless you're printing really big, who's going to be able to tell the difference? Not too shabby. Finally, however, there's this. All three of these lenses compared, once again at stupid high magnification, to New York imagery, taken with super telephoto zooms from Sigma, Tamron, Sony, and Leica on full-frame cameras. Even a super telephoto zoom or two from LUMIX on much lower resolution micro four thirds sensor cameras appeared less impressive than they did when I chimped them on location, where they did look tasty indeed. All of which leaves us where precisely for now? I'll sum it up this way today, but I will circle back to this lens sometime in the future. 1. In the past, I've found Panasonic's zooms to be bigger, heavier, not quite as tasty or quick to autofocus as their counterparts from Sony, Nikon, or Canon. 2. By the same token, over the years I've become less impressed with Sigma's super telephoto zooms as the market, and my standards have evolved. I have never really bonded with the 100-400 especially, but also the 150-600 or 60-600, either because they were too big and heavy on the one hand, that would be the 150-600 and the 60-600, or just not that optically thrilling, the 100-400. 3. But Sigma's recent 500-5.6 prime blew me away. Their 200 f2 is excellent, so is their 135 f1.4, and it is increasingly true that the best zooms are coming ever closer to excellent primes, if not yet to the same degree in this segment. 4. I really like the size, weight, feel, autofocus, versatility, and image quality of this new LUMIX S100-5, but I am not yet blown away by it, nor the trade-offs. Whether mated to my 61-megapixel SL3 or 44-megapixel S1R Mark II, I can't tell you at this point whether or not it is as good optically as, or worth the trade-offs. I know we're jumping mounts here, but I still think it's important because it increasingly is all about lens ecosystems compared to Sony's and Nikon's similarly priced, within 10 or 20 bucks of each other, but much bigger and heavier 2.1 kilo 200-600 f5.6 to 6.3 GOSS and 1.95 kilo Nikkor Z180 6.5 5.6 to 6.3 VR. I do know that this lens fills a gap in the L-mount alliance, and that's a good thing. I think it is fairly priced. That's a great thing. It plugs a hole in the L-mount alliance lineup. That's another great thing. But for now, I can only wonder if the 100-500 f5 to 7.1 might be a set of trade-offs that a pile of us, including myself, would find compelling. I suspect this lens will be a big hit for most of us, longing for a lens like this within the L-mount alliance because it's never had one. A lovely match, really, for the S1 II and S1R2 especially. They feel great and the balance is great with those Panasonic grips. But as I just said, I'll have to come back to you once I have all of these lenses in one place at the same time, in the same weather, in New York, for a final take on image quality. I'm hoping there it will knock my socks off. The only trade-off being that 1/3 stop disadvantage, which, in this day and age, is tantamount to no disadvantage at all. To be determined. This video is brought to you by Squarespace. From custom domains to beautiful websites using their easily customizable templates that you can have up and running in minutes, e-commerce, email and email marketing, SEO, analytics, and scheduling, Squarespace does it all and has done it for us for the last 10 years. If you are a small to mid-sized business in any industry, Squarespace is the place to go for all of your website needs. Hop over to www.squarespace.com/you for a free trial. And if you like what you see and want to move forward, receive 10% off your first order by using the discount code HUGH at checkout. Thanks, Squarespace. If you like what you've seen here today, please give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, join the conversation in the comment section below because this is an exceptional audience. If you'd like help with a portfolio review, gear selection, finding or honing your artistic voice, sign up for a one-on-one mentoring video call via Zoom at 3bmep.com/booking. Finally, please consider supporting our work by using the no-cost-to-you affiliate links down below, sending us coffee money via PayPal, or most especially, joining us on Patreon, links down below as well. However you choose to support us, as always, we thank you for it.